How's your day been going, brother?
It's good. It's been crazy storming out
Big.
here in Kentucky,
Oh,
hanging out with
oh,
me.
are you in Kentucky? What part of Kentucky you at?
It's near Danville.
Danville. Okay.
Yeah, way
Okay.
out with the cows.
Yeah, man. It's been a while since I've been around that way. You know,
hmm
been quite some time. Quite some time. Have you always been in Kentucky?
No, no, it's only been for about 2 years now.
2 years. So where are you from originally, Matt?
I was born in New York.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, then what actually made you move to Kentucky from New York? That's a big change. That's a big difference.
Just to be here, just to be at this property. I'm farm sitting. I'm taking care of some dogs. We used to have goats and chickens too, but we don't need to take care of them no more.
Okay. Okay. Got you, man. So what do you feel like in these past 2 years that you've really enjoyed by being there, on the farmstead and that you've enjoyed the most?
Oh, I mean, just like I'll show you.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that.
It just goes on and on.
The greenery and the scenery, man.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's a lot more quiet than New York, I'm sure.
What was that?
I, I said I'm sure it's a lot more peaceful than New York.
Yeah. I lived in a similar kind of area in New York, but it was a lot more busy. Out here, it's if I go too far from the house, I won't have service anymore.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's kind of going in and out right
Here,
now. Yeah.
let me go back to where I was.
No worries, no worries. But you've joined us a few times, brother. You've joined us, if I'm not mistaken. Have you joined us for Qigong a few times, right?
Yeah, we practiced together almost every day the whole summer.
Yeah, yeah, man. Like that was you were super consistent. Like
Mhm.
what kept you coming into the classes? Like what did it give you? What do you feel like you got from it? And what inspired you to keep going?
I could feel it. I could feel it just a single session. Um, I switched my diet from the gym bro diet to more fruit based, more fasting, and I lost a lot of weight, lost a lot of strength, and I just knew that it was possible to get it back. So it's just kind of been my journey to figure out how I could get it back.
Hmm.
Um, and we did a couple. When I started coming to qigong with you, I was probably at my lowest. I'm actually going to go back inside because it's pretty loud out here.
Okay. You said you were at your lowest, brother?
Yeah, that's when I was at my weakest. And
Like
then
physically, mentally, or emotionally, or spiritually? Like when you say your lowest, what do you
um,
mean?
physically, mentally, not spiritually.
Hmm.
That was developing. Um, but yeah, physically, mentally, emotionally, I just felt lost. Like I felt like I gave up everything that I spent my life building to something that I didn't really know if it was going to work or not. And ever since I started cultivating chi on a daily basis, it's been awesome. It's all coming back.
Man, man, that is awesome. Like, so it sounds like a full 180, like a transformation.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. Because when you say Matt, like the gym bro diet, if nobody knew what that was, what is the gym bro diet?
High protein, lots of calories. I used to do what they call a dirty bulk. So I would do pretty much whatever I felt like. It could have been fast food. It could have been, you know, lots of protein shakes. Um, I've always been uh, pretty tall, pretty
Mhm.
skinny. So I used to take in college, I was playing volleyball, um, and so I was eating probably 5, 6, 7, 8,000 calories a day. I would take these, like, they call them mass gainer shakes, where it's like protein powder, and it
Hmm.
would be like 1,000 calories of who knows what those were made out of.
Yeah, yeah. It reminds me of back in those days, I used to. You ever remember a drink in the market called Four Loko? They might still have it. You remember
Mhm.
Four Loko?
Yeah,
We used to drink Four Locos. Like we used to drink them like water, and who knows what were in them. And this was during the time when they first came out, so it was during the experimental phase,
yeah, yeah,
very experimental phase. So we were going loco on the Four Locos, and that we were the guinea pigs.
yeah.
They were the scientists, and we were the guinea pigs. So when you're talking about Matt, these gainer shakes and the bro diet and thousands and thousands and thousands of calories a day,
Hmm.
how did you how do you feel like your body felt back then versus how it feels right now?
Um, well, you never know how good you don't feel. Um, so I thought I felt great. I was in pretty great shape. I was really strong. I could lift. Um, I could deadlift almost 350 pounds. I could jump and touch over 11 feet. I could touch it almost 11.4. Um, so, like, physically, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Um, but also, physically, it was pretty painful. I messed up my spine from all of that lifting,
Mm.
had some twists and knots and damage done to my body. If I continued that way, I don't think I would have lived. I don't want to say, but I think I would have lived a much shorter life.
Mm.
Um, a lot of brain fog. I wasn't thinking clearly,
Okay.
uh, not making great decisions because it's hard to see outside of your own little bubble. So
Mm.
it feels a lot more clear these days.
Okay. So a lot more mental clarity. You're saying a lot less brain fog.
Mm, yeah.
Okay. Because when you said, the decisions you would make, like, what's an example of like one of the decisions you feel like you made back then that you would never make today in your mental state now?
Um, I don't know. There's so many. Between the food that I would eat back then, not worrying about the ingredient list back then, so many chemicals and heavy metals and all of these different things that shouldn't be going in our body. Um, the I was never big into drugs, but I used to smoke a lot. I used to vape a lot. I used to drink, not like a lot, but you know how college is for Americans. um,
Yeah, I graduated from a party school, Texas State University, San Marcos. They were all about it. You
mhm.
know, that was all that they were about was partying, partying, big time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the relationships with other people that you would form in that environment, and
Hmm.
like they would be so self-centered.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's been a long journey. Um,
Yeah. So
yeah.
so the habits, the patterns, the routines, the rituals, the regimens, the relationships, what was the thing that you feel broke you out of that? Because like you're saying, if you would have continued on that trajectory, we don't want to say that, but you might not be here today,
Mm.
you know? So what was the one thing that broke you loose from those patterns?
Um, I'd say like isolation, self-reflection, journaling, meditating.
Mhm.
Just taking space from all of those people that want to suggest a way to live.
So just distancing yourself. So you found more inspiration in isolation.
Yeah, it gave me a chance to kind of choose for myself, choose what things really made sense to me, what things didn't belong in my life anymore.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And when did you say that fasting came into the fold? Like when did that idea even come across, your radar?
Not until after I graduated from college. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, it wasn't too long after I graduated. It was probably within the first 6 months.
Mhm.
Uh, I just started little. I did like little intermittent fasts. I did a few dry fasts. Did a dry fast for a day, 2 days. I did some water fasts. Um, but then once I came here, I started doing more like juice fasting. Uh,
Mhm.
my longest it was during my streak with you when we were doing so much qigong.
Mhm.
It was 14 days on only juice. But yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Wow. 14 days. That's way beyond, where the average person thinks that we could survive without solid food.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. I definitely
So,
been able to find that without the isolation because it's a lot of pressure from other people. Like just like if I was around my parents all the time or if I was around my old friends, they would look at me like crazy. But
okay,
most healing.
did you have people?
What did you say?
Did you have people like that, like loved ones, friends, or family members that kind of looked at you strange for what you were doing?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. That's part of the reason why I came here. I just needed space. There was so much pressure to be what other people wanted me to be or
Mhm.
what they thought I was or yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So 14 days on juice, 3 days on water or just even dry with nothing, no calories coming in.
Hmm.
After you had gone from like an abundance of calories and then lifting weight and feeling like, you have these superhuman abilities, and then to now going to a totally different factor, totally different function of the human body. What did it teach you about your body?
Not to believe everything they teach you in school. Taught me that you you really don't need as much as you think you need. Um, and I kind of think that it stems from our desire. Where there's so many desires in our current society. There's the good tasting food and the internet and the games and the shows and the music and the people. There's so many desires, and when you're constantly surrounded by desire and people who don't have strong will, you just think it's normal. You think it's normal for people to eat like that, or for people to think like that, or for people to talk like that. But you take a break from it and you kind of spend more time silent. You spend more time without, and you kind of realize that all that stuff is extra. And you kind of realize that what started as a desire developed into a need. And when it became a need, a physiological need, a psychological need, that's really when you, that's really when the problems start to come.
Mm. Yeah, that's so deep, man. Matt, what you just said now is like so profound on so many levels. Like one of my mentors, they say that what you just said,
Mhm.
that luxuries once tasted become necessities, you know? And I had a conversation the other day, and there was a girl that was saying that she used to pick on her friends for vaping, vaping all the time. And she used to say like, "Oh, that's lame. Like, why are y'all doing that? And don't you know what it's doing and all this stuff." And then one time she just found herself at a party, and she was like, "What the heck?" Like everybody was vaping. She was like, "Let me hit it. Let me hit it one time." And then one time turned into two times, that turned into a few times, that turned into every time the crew was around, she's asking somebody else for it. And now all of a sudden she's on the highway, she's on the road, she's picking it up, she's vaping while she's driving. And then now she just can't go without it, and now it's become like oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
It's become like breathing, like she has to vape. It's become an auto mechanism. It's on autopilot. She's not even thinking about it, she's just vaping without even knowing it. And it was so subtle. It was so subtle. She didn't even realize until it was already too late. Like she didn't realize what was happening.
Yeah.
un- until it was already, you know what I mean?
Yeah, until it already has a grasp on you and takes control.
Exactly.
And it kind of, your will kind of becomes out of your control.
Right. Right. So I didn't even think that, that scenario, I never would have applied it to food, or certain things that we just kind of take for granted, and that, we just kind of go to the supermarket and grab this, and then let me grab a little bit of this, and let me put this in here, and let me put that in here, and oh, I need that. Oh, no, we can't leave without that. Is that on the list? Oh yeah, that's on the, let me get that too.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing that, day after day, and never thinking that that was something that I could live without, but until I started to live without it, then I started to see, oh wow, this had a hold on me, you know? So if somebody's listening to you, Matt, and they're saying to themselves, wow, there's actually a lot of things that I do that I feel I don't really need to do. Like they're kind of unnecessary, but I don't know how to stop doing them. What advice, what would be the steps that you would tell somebody to kind of break away from that? How would you advise somebody?
Just try one day. It'll be there for you tomorrow. Just try one day.
Yeah. So just break it down to just one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So we trip ourselves thinking too far ahead, you'd say, when we're thinking of like trying to get rid of it all, you know, all at once, or go cold turkey, as they say.
It just depends. If you're a lifetime smoker and now you have lung cancer or something like that, like yeah, you got to make a drastic change to get better. Um, but if it's not that serious, then you can take your time with it. Do it at your pace. And in my case, it wasn't that serious. I had pretty much no reason to change anything that I was doing. Um, but I wanted to experiment. I wanted to see what I really thought was the truth, and I didn't feel like I could call it the truth if it's just what I've been told my whole life.
Right. Okay, so for you, it was less out of desperation, but more like a curiosity, like you're seeking for truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually thought that through that path I could be stronger than I was before, more durable, last longer, have better endurance, better strength even. Um, I definitely still think that's true. I just think it's the slow path, and I don't think many people want to take the slow path.
Hmm. Why do you think that is? That people avoid, or people feel the slow path is, you know, like they don't think that it's better than no path. They don't want to take the slow path. Why do you feel like there's a lot of aversion towards that?
Um, I think it's connected to the desires, um, and that instant gratification, and just like the your desire becomes so strong that it develops into a need, and then you need have it right away. So you'll give up whatever you need to do it right away.
Right.
But then when it comes to like looking bigger picture and seeing how long it's really gonna take, then that's when people are like, yeah, I don't know about it. I don't know if I really want to stick to it.
Right.
So they just give it up and just say that it's not real or it's not right or that they had such a bad experience with it, so they'll never try it again. But in reality, you don't need to be that extreme about it. You can make little changes and be kind of develop a long-term thinking instead of that short-term thinking. And
Mm.
once you realize, hey, we have some time to get this right, you can give yourself little, little break,
Yeah.
a little grace.
Grace. Yes. It's giving yourself grace, knowing it's not a race,
Hmm.
going at your own pace, you know?
Nature never rushes, so why should I?
Oh, man. Well said, brother. Well said. We're used to that rush. There was even a place, I don't know if they have this in Kentucky, but I know where I used to live in South Carolina, in Columbia, South Carolina. They had this restaurant. It was called Rush's. You ever heard of the fast food place called Rush's?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well they sold Rush's. They sold like chicken sandwiches. It was always like a chicken sandwich with cheese and a pickle on it. But it was a place called Rush's, and the trademark was they could get your fast food out fast, like real fast. Like you would order it, then you would get into the line, and they would hand it to you in the window, and you'd just be off on your way. It's called Rush's. So everybody's in a rush. There's a line all the way out to Rush's. We're used to getting it fast. This stand right now, my cell phone is on a stand, but it's on top of a microwave. So we didn't have this invention like what, like 100 years ago. Did we have these like this? You know, I don't think so. So even hot water. Just to take a hot shower, we didn't have. We didn't have stuff like this. Like all the things that we have, all the appliances and technology. It really has contributed to that feeling of rush. That feeling of I need to have it now. And I love that you moved away from New York into a place that was a much slower pace, and now you're able to just be in your own space. That you just have that about you. So giving yourself grace and being like nature, being around nature, and watching yourself evolve and grow, even if it's slow. I think it's a much better flow. So I love that, man. I love that you did that for yourself.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you just for coming on and just talking, man. I didn't know you were going to come in here, but I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. I've been wanting to meet you face to face, so it's good.
It's going to happen in the physical. It's
Yeah.
going to happen.
One day soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, all right, brother. You enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, you too.
Take care.